Hello everyone. In this video, I'll show you how to build your own movie and TV show server from scratch using Plex, Jellyfin, Emby, Handbrake, and a full media management setup. So, first of all, before we even start thinking about servers, apps, or anything like that, we need to understand what we are actually building here. We are basically creating our own personal media server system. That means you will be able to store movies, TV shows, maybe even anime, documentaries, or any video content you want, and then stream them to any device you own. Phone, tablet, smart TV, laptop, it doesn't matter. Everything will be connected to your own system. Now, there are a few main platforms we are going to talk about today. The most popular ones are Plex, Jellyfin, and Emby. These three are basically the core of modern home media servers. Each one has its own style, its own setup process, and its own advantages. Let's start with Plex. Plex is probably the most beginner-friendly option. You go to the Plex website, create an account, download the server application, install it on your computer or a dedicated machine, and then you start adding your media folders. It automatically scans your files, tries to detect movies and shows, and organizes everything with posters, descriptions, and metadata. The important part here is that Plex relies on an account system, so you sign in, and then your server becomes accessible from anywhere through your Plex account. Now when you create a Plex account, you just use a normal email, set a password, verify it, and then log into both the server and the client app. The client app is what you install on your phone or TV to watch content. The connection happens through your Plex account, so it syncs everything automatically. It feels simple, but under the hood, it is actually doing a lot of networking work, like remote access configuration, NAT traversal, and secure streaming paths. Now let's move to Jellyfin. Jellyfin is more open source and completely free. No paid features, no premium lock, nothing like that. You download the server, install it, and you are in full control. When you first open Jellyfin, it will ask you to create an admin account. This is local, not cloud-based. That means your system stays completely yours. In Jellyfin, you manually configure libraries. You say this folder is movies, this folder is TV shows, and it scans them. It also uses metadata agents to fetch information like posters, summaries, actors, and release dates. The difference is Jellyfin doesn't push you into an external ecosystem. Everything can be local network-based if you want. You can also open it to the internet, but that requires manual port forwarding on your router. Now Emby sits somewhere in the middle. Emby is kind of like a commercial version of Jellyfin's style. It has a clean interface, account system, and some premium features, but also feels more structured than Jellyfin. You create an Emby account, set up your server, and again define your media libraries. It also supports transcoding, which is important when your device cannot directly play a video format. Now let's go deeper into something very important, file structure. Because no matter which platform you use, Plex, Jellyfin, or Emby, if your files are messy, your whole system becomes messy. You should always organize your content like this: separate folders for movies, separate folders for TV shows. Inside TV shows, each show should have its own folder, and inside that, each season should be separated. For example, showname/season 01/episode files. This structure is extremely important because all these servers rely on naming conventions to correctly identify your content. Now let's talk about something even more important, Handbrake. Handbrake is a video compression tool. This is where you optimize your storage. Because raw video files are huge. A single movie can easily be 10 gigabytes, 20 gigabytes, or even more. If you are building a large library, this becomes a storage problem very quickly. So what you do is you open Handbrake, import your video file, and choose a preset. Usually something like H.264 or H.265 encoding is used. H.265 is more modern and gives smaller file sizes with similar quality, but it takes more processing power. You can also adjust resolution, bitrate, and audio tracks. Now here is the important logic: you are balancing quality and size. If you compress too much, the video looks bad. If you don't compress enough, you waste storage. So people usually test a few settings, maybe encode one episode, check it on TV, then decide the best settings for the rest of their library.
Another thing you can do with Handbrake is batch encoding. That means you queue multiple files and let your PC process them one by one. This is useful when you are building a full archive. You basically leave your computer running for hours or even overnight. Now, after compression and organization, we go back to Plex, Jellyfin, or Emby and rescan the library.
The server will detect the new files, match them with online databases, and build your interface again with updated metadata.
Now let's talk about networking for a moment. If you want to access your server outside your home, you need remote access. Plex does this automatically through their cloud system. Jellyfin and Emby usually require manual configuration like port forwarding on your router. You log into your router settings, open a specific port, and forward it to your server's local IP address. You also need to make sure your server has a static local IP. Otherwise, if your router changes the IP, your port forwarding breaks. So you either set a static IP manually or reserve one in your router's DHCP settings. Now about devices. On your TV, you usually install the official app, Plex app, Jellyfin app, or Emby app. On mobile, same thing. On PC, you can either use the web interface or a dedicated app. The experience is slightly different, but the core system is always the same: server streams content, client receives it. Another detail people often miss is transcoding. If your video file is in a format your device cannot play, the server converts it in real time. This is called transcoding. It is CPU or GPU heavy. So if you plan to stream to multiple devices, you need a decent processor or hardware acceleration support. Now let's talk about subtitles and metadata. These systems usually pull subtitles automatically from online databases. But sometimes they fail. In that case, you manually add subtitle files, usually in .srt format, and place them in the same folder as the video. Naming also matters here. If the subtitle file name matches the video file, the server detects it instantly. Now, a small but important detail: naming conventions for movies. Ideally, you should name movies like movie name, year. For example, Inception, 2010. For TV shows, showname S01E01 format is the safest. This avoids confusion in metadata matching. Now let's go into storage planning. If you are serious about building a server, you should think in terabytes, not gigabytes. External hard drives, NAS systems, or internal HDD arrays become important. SSDs are faster but expensive for large libraries, so usually HDDs are used for bulk storage. Also, backups are important. If you lose your drive, your whole library is gone. So some people use RAID setups or duplicate storage systems. Finally, when everything is set up, you basically have your own Netflix-style system. You open your app, browse your library, click a movie, and it streams instantly from your own machine. So now you understand the full pipeline: account creation, server setup, folder structure, file compression with Handbrake, metadata organization, remote access configuration, and playback on devices. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. See you in the next video.